Okay, so now we're going to talk about the one-to-one property of logarithms. We had it for exponential functions. We said if you've got b to the x equals b to the y, you could pop out those exponents. You could say, well, then x equals y, okay? Actually, this goes both ways. So that was kind of exciting, and we used that to solve some exponential equations. Now we're going to use a similar property with logarithms. So say you have log base b of m equals log base b of n. Well, then those arguments have to be equal to each other. Then this has to equal this because you're applying the same function to them. So you kind of pop out those arguments and say, oh, then m equals n. Okay, so that's this idea of the one-to-one property. And that's what we're going to do. So I think we have an example. Just a note, let me scroll back up. Those bases have to be the same. Okay, probably knew that. Okay, so here we have an equation. We've got a natural log here and a natural log here. Notice that you just have one natural log on one side and one natural log on the other side. You can't have like other stuff floating around. That would get in the way. Now we'll have an example of how to deal with that, but you just can only have a natural log on the left and a natural log on the right. Now it doesn't have to be a natural log, it could be any base, as long as the bases are the same. Okay, so we're going to say the argument here, x squared, has to equal the argument here, which is 2x plus 3. That's a quadratic equation, there's no logarithms in it. We're going to set it to 0. We're going to factor it. And we're going to get some solutions, 3 and -1. Okay, now here's the part. We have to know if we can use those solutions because we can't have the argument be negative. We have to check these. So the 3, that looks okay. That would give me a 9 for that argument, and that's positive. It'd give me a 9 on the other side, and that would be positive, so that'd be okay. What about the -1? If I put in, I'll erase my arrows there. If I put a -1 in there, is that argument going to be positive or negative? Well, it says you're squaring it, so that would make it positive. That one's kind of interesting to think about because you know, you could bring the 2 down in front, but you go by the original equation, okay? So if you're wondering, how do I know if that really works? If you plug in a -1 there, you're going to square it, and that gets you 1. So it's okay there. What if you put in a -1 here? Well, you'd have 2 times -1 plus 3. That gives you 1, so that's positive. So you're okay. So both of these answers work. You get 2 solutions this time, 3 and -1.